All right, so I'm here with Thomas Rhodes from Dallas, Texas. Thomas is one of our liberation coaching clients, and he's here to tell us a little bit about what he does, as well as his experience with liberation coaching. Thomas, thank you so much for doing this today.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't mind, would you go into a little bit about what your business is and what you do?
Sure. So my primary business is real estate. So I sell luxury brokerage here in Dallas, Texas. I work for the Rhodes Group here at Compass. It's a company that my father founded, gosh, 50, more than 50 years ago. I work with my two brothers, but I've also started two other businesses. So I have a senior care company called Senior Care of North Texas, and I have a plumbing and HVAC franchise called 1-800 Plumber Plus Air of Dallas. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Sweet, man. Appreciate that. So, right out of the gate, how did you find out about me and the liberation coaching program?
There's a great organization that I belong to, and one of the guys in that organization saw some things that I was struggling with, specifically around identity. And I didn't know what that meant. He's like, I think you're struggling with identity. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And he goes, I have a guy that can help you. He's not cheap, but it will profoundly change your life. And I was like, all right, you just dared me. I'll call him. I'll do this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he said it was an identity problem, but for you, what were you experiencing before we started that was challenging, that led you
Yeah,
to
so like the feedback that I was getting not only from the group but also in my life was like I would just, and this sounds like braggadocious, but it's not meant this way. And the people that were telling me this weren't meaning this either. They were just, but it would sound a little bit like this. I feel like you're a little bit better than where you are in life. Like I feel like you should be further along somewhere. Like something is holding you back, and I think I'm looking at it, and it's you. And so I was like, I feel it too. I don't know what it is. I don't know. There wasn't like a lot of like self-sabotage, and it wasn't as simple as need to be more confident. It was like something like rooted that it was like I would get somewhere, I would start seeing success, and sabotaging it is not the right word. It was like a some sort of, what do they call it in a car, where a governor. It was like you're that's it. You're not going any further than this. And it wasn't a comfort level thing. It wasn't a self-sabotage thing. It was just like there is something that is precluding me from moving beyond this.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember from the beginning
Yeah.
of our work together.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it wasn't a matter of thinking of whether or not you deserve the success. There was almost like this restless achiever type thing that would have you go in different directions, but never
Sure.
really fully go in to your full potential in any one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you've been around personal development for a while, like you're no newbie to this,
A
and
lot.
you have yes, you've been through a lot. You've met a lot of coaches.
I was convinced this was not going to work, but yes. Yeah.
I'm really glad you said that. So you were convinced this was not going to work, especially given your experience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now you have an awesome network of people who are really good at business, really good at
Yes.
coaching. What made you choose to work with me and Liberation Coach out of all the
Yeah.
options you could have possibly chosen?
So I think what's different with you and them is not like, I feel like I could have gone and received the information that I needed. So for example, like if I wanted to go see a business coach, like they could have do one, two, three, four. Hey, here are all the things that are wrong in your business. I can correct all this real quickly. What I was struggling with is not like a lack of knowledge. What I was struggling with was like something internal in me that was stopping me from success, not just financially though. Like it wasn't just financial, it was like marital, with my children. There were just blocks that I just couldn't explain. And the feedback loop that I kept getting from like the external feedback loop that I was getting from others was consistent. And I knew it was true. I think knowledge is great, but like when people are overweight, it's not a lack of knowledge usually. It's not, hey, you probably shouldn't have in and out every day. That's not, or you probably shouldn't smoke cigarettes. Like it's on the packet. Like this is bad for you. Like it's on the cigarettes. But for me, it was just something was stopping me from moving forward.
And so, what did you feel like? Obviously, what you just described there was not something that more information could have given you,
Yeah,
or really a specialist in any one area was giving you. It was
right.
more of this like indescribable thing that was blocking you. in, again, your full potential and success in all those areas that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What
And I
made you,
think, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
No,
I
no,
was
no.
going to say, what made you think that I could help you with that?
I didn't think you could, first of all. So let's start there. But
That's a good start. I like it.
yeah, yeah. So we're starting off strong. But I think for me, what I knew was is that I didn't want to be in a spot where I needed somebody else. So if I sought something else, if I sought somebody else, and I have a business coach right now, and he's phenomenal, and the information that he gives me is great, and we do talk about things that are just outside of business too, but I don't want to just depend on my business coach to be like, just hold my hand because I think had you and I not worked together, number one, I wouldn't have been open to him. Number two, I would have figured out a way somehow, subtly, whatever, to not do what he said, to just tank it somehow. I don't know how, but I can just tell you that I'm thoroughly convinced that would have happened.
Yeah, that's I think is a really important thing is that it's not a lack of knowing what to do, but it's not doing what you know or finding things that get in your way of doing what you actually know.
Sure. Yeah.
I know you had a few concerns before we started. So what were some of your main concerns that almost prevented you from doing coaching together?
I've done a lot of other large name personal development. And there's that component of like, you go, you get the raw, and then you come back from the seminar. And, you know, what's changed is you're no longer in this environment that everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna conquer the world. You go back and you're there, is your wife and kids, and they know you as like the Thomas that didn't go to the seminar. Yeah, you're all pumped up, but it's like you're fighting your environment, you're fighting the people in your world, and it feels external. It doesn't feel internal. And so that I think was one of the things that I thought was like, this is just going to be like a 30-day kick in the tail, and then it's just going to go right back down. There's another is a religious part of it is that there are things that in my faith that I'm just not willing to do or don't want to expose myself to, which I feel like you were like super respectful of. There was not ever a time when I felt like there was a boundary that was crossed in that area on the personal development side. Like I feel like sometimes in the personal development, it's okay, we're gonna tell you, we're gonna soft sell it. And then once you go deeper, it's all right, now it's time to join the cult. It's and I'm out. This is not me.
Yes, unfortunately, that's much more common than
Yeah.
people realize.
And I hope if we need to take it to the next level, we don't have to like bring out a goat and do some seance or something. That's not coming, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay, good, good.
What is what you get?
Okay, good.
Good. Okay, so I know that was one of the concerns. I think one of the other ones, if you don't mind me mentioning it, is you're like, am I going to be hypnotized? I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't want
And
that, or even manipulated, and just it wasn't. There was never a time when we were together that I felt I know how to do. I've taken neurolinguistic programming, like I've gotten a master in NLP. I know the manipulative language, the embedded commands, and all that stuff. And like at no time did I feel like any of that was going on. It may have been to help me in some respects, but it was really just like you understanding like what's holding me back and then like how do we address that? And what I thought was cool about the process, I don't know if you want to cover any of that here, but what I thought was cool about one of the processes that we did was that it wasn't just, hey, let's go back and talk about fourth grade when you didn't get the pony that you wanted and let's just dwell on that. It wasn't that at all. It really was. It was like really a unique process that I've not gone through before. And it challenged a lot of the norms that I've accepted, which is as a guy, don't feel, especially in military school. I went to a military school and it's like, if you're feeling or crying, oh bro, like you're in the problem just tripled. Now you're crying, and now it's really going to get bad for you if you start crying at a military school. And there wasn't like it wasn't really let's go cry or let's just dwell on our problems for a long time. It was like, hey, how do we get our brain rewired and get in alignment with what it is that you actually want, which was super powerful. And I would see the difference with you is that the change was lasting and not like a raw session that just petered out after 30 to 60 days.
yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And that's exactly my intention of creating the process the way that I did. So
Yeah.
for you, what ultimately helped you put all those concerns to rest and say yes to joining?
I think it was like I don't know. I feel like the Lord put you in a place in my life where it was like, okay, I was ready to have this. And also I didn't feel like sold. It was just like, hey, we had a great coaching call. It was a free coaching call, but a great call. You taught me some processes where I immediately in that call saw value. And I was like, okay, if this was what my experience was like in 45 minutes, like what would it be on a deeper, like where we're working together? And I've got to say, working with you wasn't the cheapest thing ever, but I would say the time and energy that you put into it is, I almost think it's like not, it could be a lot more, like just what we did. And it's okay, so I've had all these problems in my life that have holding me back. What would you pay to get rid of that? Probably a lot more than I paid you. I promise you that. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That means I did
Thank
my
you.
job
Yeah.
and
Thank
did it
you.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what would you say has changed the most for you personally so far from what we've done?
So early on, like first of all, I think your process is like amazing. I think like how you, it's not just, hey, let me just do one technique and this is going to solve all areas of your life. You have broken it down and you do, I think you have a really good understanding of, hey, we need to chunk this down and we're going to work on this section. Then we can move over here and work on this section. But we can't just do one thing and everything changes. Now, there are ripple effects, but I think so. The first process that you and I did was working on some identity work. And part of do you want to talk about this kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
I'm happy to go into it.
Yeah. Three of the limiting beliefs that, like, I grew up and I had ADD and I wasn't the best student. And it wasn't until I got to college that I was a good student. But there was some pain that went with being in elementary school, middle school, and high school and just feeling stupid. Like everybody else knew stuff. I didn't know it. And hey, we got a test today. What are y'all talking about? Like, teacher's been talking about it for 3 weeks now. Everybody knows, everybody's prepared, and I'm not. And so I think the three limiting beliefs that we identified was I'm stupid, I'm a problem. And then the last one that really got me that I think has really been the most profound is I'm a hero. And when when you brought I get the first two, like everybody gets that, but the I'm a hero thing was really profound because I was like, how is that a problem? I mean, I've used the Heimlich on several people, I've saved their life. This is good. And you're like, and you just said, what do heroes need? And I was like, I don't know, capes. And you're like, no, they need villains and they need victims. And I was like, oh. And you said, if you don't have either one of those, if you don't have a villain, you don't have a victim, you'll make them up. Or your wife will become the villain, or your wife will become the victim, or your employees will become victims, and you have to constantly rescue them all the time. And I think that was the limiting belief that was holding me back was like heroes also struggle a lot. They're struggling, they're fighting some foe that just may or may not exist. And that's I think was like the boat anchor that just got released. And once we worked through that and I let that go, there are just so many things I just don't even identify with anymore. I can't like when I say I'm if I were to say I'm stupid, like I can't go into that anymore. And then there's things like the I'm a hero. There are times when like I used to just rescue my wife or rescue my kids or because it wasn't about them, it was about me. Yes, I did it again. Look at me, save the day. And I just let it go. And it figures itself out. And my kids are better for it because I'm not coming in going, here I am, save the day. It's no, you got to figure it out. You got to struggle. Sorry, figure it out.
Yeah,
And that has been, I think, along with other things that we've done, but I think that belief, that leg of the table, shattering that was probably the catalyst of the success that I've had recently.
that's amazing. And that's one of those very sneaky limiting beliefs that sounds positive.
Sounds great.
So,
Yeah, it's who wouldn't want that? Are you kidding me? I've been watching Superman since I was like 3 or 4.
yep, that's amazing. Speaking of some of the success that you've had from that catalyst, what have been some of the biggest impacts in your business?
So I think that it's helped me trust in just like getting into you call it the flow state of just like things are happening now that just didn't happen before. And that sounds woo and cheesy. And it's not really what is happening. It's not like I just let the universe in and it just delivers stuff. That's not what I'm talking about here. it's like I'm opening up to, because these beliefs are getting shattered or have gotten shattered, like now things are coming to me in a way that like I'm just ready to hear. I'm taking chances that are calculated, but are also like, sorry about that, excuse me. Sorry about that. So I'm taking calculated chances. I'm aligning myself with the right people. People are coming to me that are like that I've been looking for. I've had HVAC guys that are just like just fall out of the sky that are like, yeah, I'd like to partner with you on this. I'm like, okay. I don't even know who you are, but it sounds great. So it's just, and then numbers wise, like this month, we're up 242% from last year. Like this month compared to last year in March, we're up 242% in the plumbing business. Real estate's doing well. Senior care is doing well. Ask me what I've done. I don't know. I don't know that I've done much differently. I think we've changed a couple of things. I've been open to a couple other possibilities, but it's not like some business coach has gotten a hold of me and these are 15 things. Like it's just, hey, there's just there's some things that are coming that are happening that I just can't explain. And there's also not as much stress around it. And it doesn't, and it also doesn't feel like a grind. It doesn't feel like me just slogging along. It's okay. Like we can, like, yeah, we're having success. Let's just keep going. Let's keep doing the right thing, like helping people, making it about our customers, and we will succeed.
Amazing. What would you say surprised you most or exceeded your expectations with the work that we've done?
I just thought it was real. It is lasting change. And people say, how could you say that? Is it just the results? And no, it's not. Like I think the results are just like a reflection of what I've been going through. But before I did think I was stupid. And so I would compensate for that. Like I would, if anybody challenged me or challenged an idea, I would get super angry. And I didn't know where it was coming from. Or I would shut down the conversation. And so how does it work with Molly? Is Molly would just ask me like a benign question. Are you sure that's the right idea? Are you sure that's the right decision? And then rather than be like, I don't know, here's this helper that God put in my path, like maybe I should listen to her. It would be like, it would be like, of course I know. You're like, I'd be like, yeah, of course. I make all these business decisions. I'm super important. Pound my chest. Like, I know, of course I know what I'm talking about. And get defensive. And she's just, whoa, okay, like, all right, I guess we'll do that. And then sometimes it'd be the wrong decision. It's just like subtle things where I just can't identify with some of these old beliefs anymore. And my response to it, not just the results that I'm seeing, but just my response to like instances where just insecurity would leak out, but I would mask it in confidence. Like I don't do that as much. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that is a good decision. What are you thinking there? And a lot of my ego has been taken out of it.
That's solid. Speaking of which, how have other people in your life or other areas of your life been impacted by this work? You mentioned obviously communication with your wife has changed. What
Yeah,
what has that impact been with your relationships or other areas of life?
I think so. I got a forum and um, a group of guys that know me pretty well. We kind of share like the last 5% of like our problem, like the 5% that nobody else knows that we just share with complete strangers. And it sounds psycho, but we do it. But they were like, man, you're showing up totally different. I think also like my need to like build businesses to for compensate for what I felt was like I didn't feel like much in like middle school and high school. Like I just felt insecure. And so now I'm like, I got to go prove something to somebody. And I'm like, who cares about me? Like everybody has their own stuff, everybody has their own lane. And so it's like I was fighting against a ghost that doesn't exist and doesn't care. And so it's just like I just let all that stuff go. And like now it's just, hey, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna just help people as best I can over here. And if the Lord brings me a lot or a little, I'm just gonna be content in it because that's what I'm doing. And but I think I've shown up differently with my kids. I think I've shown up differently with my wife, which is super important. And I just think there's a lot less ego and a lot less defense in me, which I think is best for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got two more questions for you before we
Yeah,
wrap. The first one is, had you not joined this program or had we not done the coaching, where do you think you'd be right now?
same place, same slogging through, wondering why, like, I can't, I know I'm going to get over this hill. I just know it. I can't seem to do it. It's just like I was living in this frustration and I was living with brakes on. And I think I'd just be frustrated, questioning like, why, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Why, why am I just not succeeding? And I don't mean financially. That's just one lever of like life. Like that's just one lane of life. Like what's in your bank account? Okay, that's great. But just like in a lot of areas, like personal areas, like faith-based areas, just like, why am I not going all in these areas? I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I think I would just still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you decided to do this
Yeah.
based on everything you shared here. Last question, just to wrap things up. So if somebody were watching this because they were on the fence and they were considering doing this coaching, is there anything that you'd share with them to help them make their decision, provided that they're a good fit?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff like I think in the personal development space, there's so many different personal development things that like just go on Instagram. It's like somebody is sitting there telling you that like you're doing it wrong and they know how to do it right. And if you just listen to them, everything would be great. I think that's great if you're Jesus. But if you're not, then I think those guys might be helpful, but it just comes off as an arrogance of, hey, I know how life is and follow my way and we'll do this. What the experience that I had with you was it was more about like you exploring like where I was and was holding me back and not in a way of let me just manipulate you into like how you should feel, but like where are you now? Where do you want to go? And then you questioning, are you sure that's where you want to go? Like, does that make sense for you to go there? And so I think like what people would get with you is number one, I've what I thought you did so brilliantly is I've done other training and you teased out limiting beliefs that were so deep down that I felt like I had been done this before. I was like, oh, I've done this. Let me just tell you what they are. Okay. It's 1, 2, 3. I can tell you what they are. And then we went so many layers deeper than that, that it was like, whoa, this is new. I've never heard this before. And it was like you masterfully identified these beliefs that like once they shifted, it was like it wasn't just like taking a car and being like, okay, listen, we're gonna just add a different fuel. You're gonna run a little bit better. It was like we changed the entire operating system of the car or a computer. It was like it's a whole new operating system. And that's where I think like, I think somebody that's sitting on the fence is you're not going to deliver that. That's the concern. I'm going to pay you. We're not going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. Can I trust you? And I'm pretty skeptical. I don't think that I wasn't like one of these guys like, sign me up. I was like, I'm going to Google the hell out of you and I'm going to figure out who you are and we're going to background check this. And then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to go. But yeah, I think you have a lot of integrity, and I think that that's what I'm really looking for is like somebody that has integrity. That because we're doing deep work here. We're like I'm sharing stuff that I probably haven't shared with a lot of people, and you were respectful. You have great integrity, and those are all things. And you're extremely talented at what you do. You're like top level coach in this area. So for sure, like you should do it. Because if it's not you, I don't know who's better than you. So yeah,
Thomas, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate you doing this interview with
yeah.
me, and hopefully, your story and your experience will help somebody else make the decision that they need to make to create that freedom and that flow in their life so that they don't have to live with the frustration, with the overwhelm, with all those things that they can't describe but that are holding them back.
Yeah, I think it's like the Matrix. We took the red pill or the blue
Yeah,
pill.
something
I don't know
like that. Yeah,
I don't know which pill it is, but I took it. I
that's
took it.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for wanting to interview me. I'm sure you got a lot of great candidates to do it. So humbled that you asked me. So thank you, and thanks for all your help. So
Thank you, Thomas. Last thing, this
yeah,
won't go on the recording, but do I
yeah,
have permission to use this video for marketing purposes?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
All right,
Thank you,
cool.
sir. All right,
Thanks.
real quick, are you going to be in the training today or no?
No, I've got a new plumber that
Okay.
hired on, and
Today's topic, if you're not trying to be a coach, is really not like you're
well,
not.
listen, the sales thing.
Yeah, that
Yes.
one, the recording should be up, and then there's also the audio module. So you could just go right down to that one. Today
Okay.
is the values thing. I'm teaching people how to actually extract the values, which I don't think you're ever going to do for somebody
Yeah.
unless
But
you're actually
gosh,
being a
man,
coach.
I wish I would have talked about that because that was huge. That was, man, gosh, I wish I would have talked about that.
I can clip it if you want to just share about
Yeah.
values.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll prompt you with the question and then and then I'll have, because Heather does the video editing, she'll just clip this into there.
Great.
So tell me about your experience with the values assessment, the thing that we did to onboard you. What was that like?
Okay. This was actually the most curious thing because like this was really revealing. And I love movies. And I remember the never ending story when they were, I think it was like a Atreyu or something, has like stare at a mirror or something like that. And he sees this reflection. This was like who you are really. And so on the values thing is like, I feel like I value these things, right? Like these, I want to say I have great values, right? Everybody does, right? Nobody says, I'm a scumbag. Nobody says that. But then we go through the value section and without explaining the process, it's like we're teasing out, like, okay, this is what you want to be, but this is how you're living. And it's, ooh, yeah, that was hard. That was hard. And some of it was like, it was revealing, but not surprising. And then some of the ones were like surprising and revealing. And I was like, wow, I say that I value this, but I don't. And people say this in companies all the time is like their core values are integrity, honesty, customer service. And you go and you live, first of all, CEO can't even tell you what the values are. So if he doesn't know or she doesn't know, then nobody else knows. And number two is if you don't know what they are, then how are you living those out? Like, how is that possible? And so that's where I feel like, yeah, I had these values in the back of my mind, what I value, but not really. I wasn't living that way. And so that was super profound. Man, this is like your operating system that's running my computer. And it's like, they're in conflict. Like I say, I value this, but I really value this. And they're in conflict with one another. And so being able to tease that out, acknowledging it, and then getting alignment with, okay, here's what you say you value. Let's step into that. That was super powerful. And then it makes decisions really easy. Once you like really know, like everybody thinks they know what their values are, but once you really know what they are, then when somebody says, hey, let's open up a marijuana dispensary, so it's going to make you a lot of money. And it's, yeah, but I can't tell my kids that's how I make my money. It's against my values. Not an indictment for those that do that, but for me, that's not a way that I can sit there and tell my kids, like, hey, we made all this money because I sell illicit drugs. So I think that makes decisions easier, which then in turn, like, doesn't stress me out as much. It's, hey, I don't have to be torn in all these different directions. I know who I am. I'm good at this. I don't have to be good at everything, but I am good at this. This is what the Lord's calling me to go do. So I'm going to step into that, and that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, I'm glad that you shared this about the values because I tell people about it initially when we're doing onboarding, and it's one of those things that it's hard for me to sell what it's going to do for somebody.
For sure.
I'm like, yeah, we're going to do a values assessment. And a lot of people, their internal dialogue is, I know my values. Like, what, like, for what? So, as a
Yeah.
business owner, why do you think it's important for somebody to actually know what's going on versus the values that they are saying?
Yeah. So, first of all, like when you said that, like when you're like, okay, then we're going to talk about values, I was like, skip. Like in my brain, I was just like, skip that. I was like, whatever. Okay, I guess we'll do it. I think what it does is for me on the business side, like there's so many things like when you start a business or several businesses, like there's so many different avenues that you can start going down, right? And everybody's dangling something like, if you did this, there's this company and they're doing this, and we should go do that. And then, but it's who are you? Who is your little shop? What are you doing here? What are you called to do? What are you good at? What are your just natural efficiencies? And it's like, what do you stand for? So if my values are all over the chart, how am I going to take my plumbers, my technicians, or any of the people that work for me? How am I going to pass those on when they're moving targets? Like I don't even know what they are. How would they know what they are? It's hey, we just ripped a customer off, made a lot of money. Great. Now that customer will badmouth us, never use this again, and tell all of his friends not to use this again. So we skinned a cat once. we can't ever go back and create a lasting relationship and help people. And so I just think like when your values are clear, your choices are also really clear. And the things that you can say no to and like avoid all these time wasters is huge in business.
Yeah, it becomes like your ultimate filtering system, which
Yeah.
is if for
Yeah.
any business owner listening to this, making decisions and the speed to making decisions that are good decisions, not just throwing stuff at the wall, but being able to make good decisions quickly is paramount to growth and success in any business. And
Yeah.
the
And I
longer
think
you
that,
take, the slower things go and easier they fall apart.
yeah, like on that disc profile, like I'm a high D, like I'm a 99 on the D side. And so I literally am like, let's move past this. Let's go. Just get through the values. Like I know what they are. Let's move on. But I will tell you, like, that was like, like when you list all your values and then you question, you go, okay, do you value money or your children? And then it's, oh, my children, of course. Like, children or your business? Children or God? It's like, when you have to rank your values and you have to really get clear what do you really value. Everybody has these values like trust, honesty, integrity. Now rank them. What's most important? Because that's the one you're operating on. And if it's wealth generation, stand by, because the decisions that you're going to make, it's going to be Machiavellian. So whatever it takes to build wealth, that's ultimately what's going to win out. If push comes to shove, if integrity and building money clash, building money is going to win if that's your number one value. So that to me was like, all right, it's probably the most vulnerable part of what you do. And then it's how do I not live like that?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. It's just one of those things that I know a lot of founders and CEOs, they get into this to be free, but then they end up building a business that owns them. And one of the reasons that it owns them is because the values are all mixed up
Yeah.
in not the way that they actually want to live. So if they want to build a highly profitable business that doesn't own them, you got to know your values
Yeah.
and you got to live by them.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. All right, Thomas,
All
dude,
right.
thank you for saying that. So we were able
Yeah.
to get that in there as well. So
Yeah.
that's one
No,
piece.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's good.
I'll see you next week for our session then.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
See you,
All
Ben.
right. Bye.
Bye.